What's happening, Bulls? Happy Friday. Heaps of shit to cover. We've got some trades that are in the green, big ones too. TRX up 225%. ZEC went up 100%, still is. Pump Fund hanging pretty neutral, a little bit in the red. Was up, as you can see, 35%. We've got big trades going. We'll look for a few more, but we'll first go through the fundamentals. Catch up on a bit of news. There was a bit of a Binance convention overnight, so we'll catch up on where the crypto market is, what sort of bias to hold for across the weekend as we get ready to trade some low volatility compressions and in turn expansions, especially on the 30-minute Bitcoin chart. That's what we do best. So firstly, let's get into the fundamentals. We'll end up with a bit of charts at the end. So here we go. Peter Schiff got punked. You probably know Peter Schiff pretty well, do you? I'm sure you do. He's that Bitcoin bear, has been for a long time. He constantly just gets wrecked by everyone. Sometimes he wins, but he's one of those ones that'll talk over you. So CZ from Binance, I thought that trick may work. Bitcoin made it easy. Peter is so close. He understands all the problems with money today, but only views Bitcoin as a speculative asset. He hasn't used Bitcoin enough. He's a gentleman. Though it's so funny, watching Peter Schiff debate our favorite crypto influencers over the years. It's been just hilarious because he is so close. He'll basically fight the argument for Bitcoin and then just put gold in its chair. This is a classic one. It's make your own mind up. Watch this.
So I have a nice box here.
What is that?
It has some Kyrgyz language. I took it back from Kyrgyzstan. He has a certificate. I got this from a very important person from Kyrgyzstan. Very recently, just completely by luck. So we take it out. It's pretty heavy. I'll put this down. You can see, it says Kyrgyzstan, 1,000 grams, fine gold, 99.9.9, and a serial number. Try it.
Yes. Yeah, it's heavy.
Is it real gold or no?
Well, I don't know. Is this what you're trying to?
Fair play, huh? That's what he was. The CZ's been sitting in prison planning that. Well executed, my guy. Obviously, it is true though. You need to what's this? I got another post about it. Here we go. Crypto Face, our friend, hilarious. He says even the most expert gold buyers / sellers drill through to make sure it's real, cause you can't tell unless you drill through it. Everyone hating on Peter Schiff for this is indeed retarded. Yes, agreed. You can't hate on him, but at the same time, like, what a fuck around. You got to drill through. You got a nice, the average person would be lucky to have one of those. Was it a 1 ounce blocks of gold, right? And then what are you going to do? You just have to take the verification of the company that you bought it from, and who knows if that company is going to be around in 10 years when you've got it in the vault. All of a sudden they've disappeared and you can't verify it. You have to get it drilled again. You don't want to get it drilled again, right? That's going to cost money. So the argument is that Bitcoin is just already verified, peer-to-peer, third-partied, verified on the ledger, so you just can't beat it digitally. Everything's easier. Everything's digitally. Everything's easier. That's why, unfortunately, everybody uses bank transfers instead of cash. Everything is easier when it's digital, and that is one of Bitcoin's many value propositions. So, classic. Fair play to CC for that one. Not hating on gold there. It's just a different. It's just old school, right? It's older than fuck knows how old it is. It's as old as the earth probably. So let's have a little look at the comparison to the price chart: gold, silver, Bitcoin. So Bitcoin lags and leads in very often in very different circumstances, but many times you'll see. When tech is flat, Bitcoin can correlate to gold and silver. When tech is pumping, Bitcoin's pumping as well. Bitcoin crypto definitely is more of an arm of the tech sector for sure than, unfortunately, its gold and silver precious metal store of value counterparts. But there is still correlation, and you will see Bitcoin It's usually, in my opinion, usually when Bitcoin is correlating to the precious metals, it means that there's no altcoin appetite and it's just doing its purpose, achieving its purpose. So I think that will sort of come around. I think it's just a matter of time before Bitcoin, it just comes in, it oscillates, right? So, anyways, moving on. So here's another one, old Zesty. We call him Zesty Tom Zesty Lee. At the Binance conference, there's a few videos coming up, not a hell of a lot. Tom Lee's getting a bit stale. He's getting a bit old. Everyone's getting sick of him, including myself. He's just, perma bull. We've seen it all before. Perma bulls, they just hang around and see how they stay relevant, because usually the perma bulls are always eventually right. Most cases, when they're talking about Bitcoin, and in most cases Ethereum, sometimes Solana, sometimes Sui. We'll see with Raoul Pal, but the perma bulls usually end up being right or more right, and what happens is the perma bears be just so brutally wrong, or briefly right for seconds, and then brutally wrong that everyone forgets them. So he's staying relevant. Let's watch what he's got to say.
Okay, so let me explain to you why Ethereum, now that we've talked about crypto, Ethereum is the future of finance. And what I mean by that is Ethereum in this year, it's having its 1971 moment. But what I'm saying is that in 1971, the dollar went off the gold standard. And in 1971, it galvanized Wall Street to create financial products to make sure the dollar would be the reserve currency. Well, in 2025, we're tokenizing everything. So it's not just the dollar that's getting tokenized, but it's stocks, bonds, real estate. And Wall Street is again going to take advantage of that and create products onto a smart contract platform. And where they're building this is on Ethereum. And today, if you look at the share of real-world assets, and the prior panel talked about that, the majority of this, the vast majority, is being built on Ethereum. Even he has said Ethereum has won the smart contract war. As you know, Ethereum has been range-bound for 5 years, as I've shaded here, but it's begun to break out. And that's one of the reasons why myself and Mosaics, Shen from Mosaics is here, we got very involved with Ethereum by...
Nah, bro. It has not begun to break out, bro. That's a high. That's an equal high. That's a range, bro. It's literally still, you've even saved us the trouble and drawn the rectangle. That's still in the range, bro. There's no begin to break out. There's no begins to break out. Every move is a begins to break out. You could call that a begins to break out right there. You can call that a begins to break out. You can call this a begins to break out. You can call this a begins to break out if that's the case, bro. There's no begins to break out. There's ranging, and then there's broken out, and then there's confirmed the breakout. So broken out, and then bull trap. You're fucked. Back down to the bottom of the range, even lower potentially. There's no begins to break out. That's just an opinion. Just going to clarify that one.
Turning BitMine into an Ethereum treasury company because we saw this breakout coming. Now, this might actually be more important because Bitcoin and Ethereum are really the two most important crypto L1s or blockchains out there. But if 2025 is about tokenization, that means Ethereum's utility value should be rising. Therefore, you should watch this ratio. Well, I think Bitcoin's going to get to 250,000 within a few months. And if Ethereum price ratio to Bitcoin gets back to its 8-year average, that's $12,000 for Ethereum. But I think Ethereum's going to become the future of finance, the payment rails of the future. And if it gets to 0.25 relative to Bitcoin, that's 62,000. So I think Ethereum at 3,000, of course, is grossly undervalued. Okay. So there's
a lot of, there's a lot of opinions that I actually share there with especially with the payment rails. Obviously there's stable coins, and that's why one of the reasons why our Tron TRX trade's doing so well, stable coins being that. But as for payment rails, there's no Bitcoin's not working for that. It's been people have been trying to do that for a long time, and it's not working. It's not happening. Payment rails. So I can see there being a payment rail. The gas of the future. For example, smart contract platform. There is a place for it for sure. So there's obviously a war. I've seen Ethereum always come out on top. I mean, the longer you've been around, the more bullish that you stay on Ethereum baseline, in my opinion, by just seeing it just constantly just continue the smart contract war and always end up on top. And you might say Solana's on top right now. It's not. Let's just look at market cap. Okay, so market caps just comes down to the definitive answer and determination of why Ethereum is still in the lead, because it's the biggest. It has the largest market share. And if you look into a lot of those DeFi Llama statistics and stuff like that, it is it. Okay? Decentralization is still winning. Solana is better in many ways, but it obviously takes, there's cons. It takes there's weaknesses, and that's centralization, which can be good for certain things, like especially institutional adoption and institutional use, stock market use. But according to our friend Zesty Tom Lee, the Ethereum network is still the number one destination for the institutions' money and smart contract payment rails. So, therefore, I remain bare minimum 51% more bullish on Ethereum than any other smart contract platform. In saying this, clearly, he's taking, he could just pick the winning side and just become just a full-time Bitcoin shill, but he has what's the word? Recognized a gap in the market, right? He's recognized, this is a little bit of tunes. He's recognized the gap in the market. There's no influential figure shilling Ethereum. So therefore, he's going to take up a lot more TV time if he's the number one Ethereum shill, right? There's already Saylor, there's already plenty of number one Bitcoin shills. He'll just fall in line. So, there's a role to be filled there, but what he's saying is relatively potentially accurate, and I think that I heavily agree with him that there will be 100% there's a need for a smart contract platform. Ethereum is winning the race dominantly. Solana, look, like where's the Solana bulls now? Like, Solana's gone quiet. Price reflects the news basically, and everyone's I'm still hearing lots about Ethereum. Where's all the Solana shit going on? Where's the Solana news and everything like that? It's fucking dead quiet. It's crickets, man. Where's the Solana spokesman? Who's doing it for Solana? Raoul Palace on Sui's sucking Sui's semen now. So what's Solana doing? You know what I mean? So they come and go, but Ethereum just always continues to grind towards its long-term goal. The next thing to cover was old Fink. I've got a couple of quick Fink videos. Let's watch them for the first time together.
We're seeing more and more legitimate long-only investors investing in it. There was an article about a foundation, endowment just bought a lot of IBIT. But I can tell you there are a number of sovereign funds that are standing by. They're adding incrementally at 120, at 100. I know they bought more in the 80s. Right. That's fine. And they're establishing a longer position. And you own it over years. This is not a trade. You own it for a purpose. We're seeing more that there may be some type of settlement in Ukraine. Bitcoin fell a little bit. So you own Bitcoin because you're frightened of your physical security. You own it because you're frightened of your financial security. The long-term fundamental reason you own it because of debasement of financial assets because of deficits. And so to me, even the movement in the last week, and we've had a 20-25% drawdown, and this is the third time since IBIT was created, our ETF. And so you see these shifts, and they're actually pretty non-correlated shifts.
All right, even though this dude looks like a lizard, basically is a human gecko stealing all of our money and hijacking wealth and our Bitcoin. I'm also, can't help but have a part of me that's grown a small liking to him because he's saying the right things, right? If you're scared of the financial system, yeah, no shit. Our money's debases like a quarter every 4 years or something. So the first thing that he said, he was just slipping in there. It's just, sovereign wealth funds just snatched it all up in the 80s. Like, that's why I didn't stay in the 80s for very long. That's why Bitcoin price was in the 80s. Like, how many days was it in the 80s? Let's have a quick look. How many days was Bitcoin in the 80s, in the 80Ks? Like, that's why I'll fucking empty. I'm telling you, bro, I emptied the wallet in the 80s. And, it might go back in there. Hopefully it does. We'll get some more money and then we'll buy some more Bitcoin. But in saying that, where's a better chart? That this one's very, very unpleasing to the eye. They all are. They all get worked on. Money bags. All right, here we go. I'll just clean this up just a touch, and then we're on the go. Boots. All right, here's a nice clean chart for you. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go the daily chart. This is perp swaps on Bybit. Probably not the best. All right, one last go. Here we go. Oh, look at this. In the tea leaves. Bro, some scribble from weeks ago. Watch. We'll leave it. All right, here we go. Hold on. Patience, my friend. Okay, so where's the 80Ks? So here's the 89. Back up to, that's 1 week. And then that was it, basically. Everything was in the 90s. So 1 day, 8 days. Seems like it was there for a while, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? 8 days, bro. 8 days in the 80s. It's not long. It's a week. It's 5 or 6 business days. It's not long at all. That's how long it was in the 80s. 1 week, pretty much. So, again, bottoms, they happen quick, according to fucking old mate Income Shark. They don't. 1 week to scramble your coin and buy Bitcoin in the 80s, if this was the bottom. Let's see what happens in the near future, but in hindsight, I think we'll be happy to have bought a lot in the 80s regardless. Looking back just depends on the time frame, whether we're looking back in a month, whether we're looking back in 6 months. You hear me, though? All right, we're back to it. We'll zip through this shit. We're getting late. Leverage flushed out. Binance's estimated leverage ratio is now at a 30-day low. High-risk leverage has been cleared out, reducing the odds of major liquidation spikes and boosting overall market stability. This is what we want. It's like health. It's health. It's true health. Liquidation is, even though it's very upsetting and painful being on the, just trying to get the right volume on this shit, man. This fucking YouTube. Just playing a bit of backgroundy. Probably too loud. I don't know. I'm just going off the decibels. It's like think of Bitcoin like a lion, and then it just starts getting all these birds sitting on it, and these fucking fleas and that sort of shit. Just a big shake off all the animals, shake off all the pests, shit out all the worms. That's a leverage flush out, so it's healthy for it to move and stay alive, move in the right direction. Alright, what's this? Bloomberg announced live on TV that Abu Dhabi bought $520 million worth of Bitcoin. Let's have a little listen.
In terms of their holdings and when they added to this position?
Yeah, so you can see that they've more than tripled their position right in the weeks and months up to the sell-off. So, it hit a record high in October, and we can see that they've tripled their position during the third quarter. They disclosed a position at the end of September that was worth around $520 million. And we can see that this is really going to be a part of their portfolio going forward. They're saying that they want to diversify it, and they really see it as the digital equivalent of gold.
And by the way, I should correct myself. I meant to say $500 million, not $500 billion. That would be tremendous. But Ben, getting back to you in London, when it comes to the Abu Dhabi Investment Council, just give us a sense of how this holding of Bitcoin fits in with their overall portfolio. What is their investment strategy?
Yeah, sure. So they're an investment unit of Mubadala. They're kind of run separately, but this really seems to be part of the overall strategy by Abu Dhabi and the United Arab Emirates more generally to become a hub for crypto, as well as just to really become a player in the markets. You can see that Mubadala itself also has significant holdings in Bitcoin ETFs. They've set up new funds such as MGX that have done deals with crypto exchanges like Binance, and you can really see that, you know, they see this as an important long-term development.
All right, I fucking had enough of listening to old mate from the Turtle Club. We know, bro. We know. Everyone's fucking buying it. We get it. We fucking get it. Let's have a little look at that ZEC trade. Oh my god. Huge. Dude, huge. Bitcoin's pulling back a little bit. ZEC. Oh, that's TRX too. Fuck. My TRX trade. Let's have a little squeeze. TRX trade is absolutely flying. So where do we enter the TRX trade? Have a look at this on. So TRX, Tron, here we go. Tron entered it. 27412. 27412. What was the date on that shit? The date was November 26. November 26. Bullets, we ended here. My god. It's up, Let's have a little gander. Skeet, my guy. Okay. TRX is just fucking. It's goated. It's the best. TRX trades like a fucking commodity, man. Let's party. TRX trades like a commodity. It is so smooth. And where did we get in on Zcash? I mean, I wrote in the group before. I botched the Zcash trade a little bit. I put it at stop loss at break even overnight, and it got tagged, which is, you know, obviously a shame. But I re-entered at an unideal position, but we got here at 348, and then I re-entered at 360, so it's at 370 now. So I re-entered like fucking there before, probably there. It was shit as, but you know, I'm not missing out on this, man. This is this has potential to do all the way back up to the price target of where the breakdown point is. So big gains. Look at that swooping momentum coming back up to the high side. This is the one that knocks out all the shorts. Wow. Good. All right, let's see what Jay Powell's got to say.
So our role with Bitcoin really is to look at, with crypto, really is to look at the banks, and you know, we think it's, you know, banks are perfectly able to serve crypto customers as long as they understand and can manage the risks, and it's safe and soundness. A good number of our banks that we regulate and supervise do that. You know, the threshold has been a little higher for banks engaging in crypto activities, and that's because they're so new, and you know, we don't want to make the mistake. If you're making a choice to conduct that activity inside a bank, which is inside the federal safety net with deposit insurance, then you want to be pretty sure that it's a safe and sound activity. So, you know, we're not against innovation, and we certainly don't want to take actions that would cause banks to, you know, to terminate customers who are perfectly legal. So our
This is what I heard then. Use our middlemen. Use our middlemen. Use our middlemen that are in this country paying our tax. That's all I hear. Alright, fucking charging through. Here we go. Massive short liquidations loom. Good. Huh? Good. Good. Over 3 billion Ethereum shorts will be liquidated if ETH breaks above 3.5K. It's almost inevitable in my opinion. You had days to buy Sol before we broke this trend line. You had huge discount on Monday. Now we are above it. It's true. Where's Solana sitting right now? I've got it on here. Yep. Whew, still good. Still good. He got too ahead of himself there, thinking that it's broken above that. You know, these are the times when you try. You roll the dice on some longs, dude. Because why the fuck would you want to short it now? You know, like, look. Just try, you roll the dice on some longs here, might be wrong, might be right. The time to start considering to short is when it comes up and takes out previous stop losses, alright? This is where you change your mind on this sort of shit right here. This shit right here. Right there, okay? This is the shit. This is the time where you consider longs, not shorts, not here. Don't bother. Don't bother. Things go up before they go down. Things go down before they go up. Alright, bruh. Speaking of Raoul Pal, this is him talking about ZEC. So if you want to get fucking yellow pilled, orange pilled, whatever colours Zcash is, I think it's yellow pilled. Have a little listen to that if you've got, if you don't value your time too highly. Here's another thing. We'll read this and then we're going to fucking... Oh my god. Silly. I'm going to have a little look for some trades. I like stuff like this for longs. I am bullish until Bitcoin reaches at least 95, 96k. I think that's the sort of the area. We've got blue bar expansions. We've got the head fake still active. Head fake expansion still active. We're just looking for strong coins, looking for the ones that are in this top bunch very often. This is what we're looking at. I like Aave. I like the same ones. I like BNB, Binance. Look at this. Yeah, I like Binance. It's making higher highs. You're just pressing for good entries. That's all you want. If you're longing, that's pretty good. Right now it's actually a pretty good entry. You've had the liquidations come past. Could go lower. It's not there, but. And this is why, in my opinion, you just want to run high leverage and just get stopped out early, because if it's coming down here, it's probably coming down here. You know what I mean? Like if it's coming down past this low, like you put your stop loss there. If it's coming past this low, then it's probably going to come all the way down here. So there's no point having a fucking stop loss, like a mid-range stop loss. Just hug it, go for it. Small capital, proves you right. Maybe add some more into it. Just fucking don't bother with these mid-range like 6x leverages and shit like that. Just punch it out, and because if it fails, it's going to come down probably to here. You know what I mean? So what's the point of having a stop loss there? What's the point of having a stop loss there? Just run it tight or run it real wide and weather that storm. But you're better off just running it tight, and then if it comes down, which if it breaks down, it probably will. If it comes down here, then fucking hit it high again. I'm just in the scene of just, it depends on how much you want to. If you can nail the entry, high leverage. High leverage is all about nailing entries. That's what it's all about. Fuck, it's been half an hour. All right, let's read a little bit of this together and I'm fucking off. A lot of people, Bob Lucas, he's good to listen to. He's old. He's been around. A lot of people I hear from, some I know, seem to live on the edge when it comes to their money, moving from one idea and opportunity to the next as attention shifts between ideas. They're chasing the big outcome with blinders on, looking for that one big leap into riches. You only need to see the bias that develops and grows on X around themes until it's too late. I certainly did a lot of this in my early years. Sometimes they get close and sometimes they temporarily achieve far more than expected. Success creates a hero complex that consumes them, and the network effective reinforcement compounds it. But because everything is always in such hectic motion, always at risk, one forgets how to formalize their win. What's gained in one season or theme is often quickly handed back before the theme runs its course. As all sense of discipline and logic escapes them. Sorry, one sentence. Then the cycle repeats. They move on to the next idea, looking for that escape level of wealth, and again, suddenly believing it's their only chance to make it big. What I've come to appreciate later in life is that risk alone is not a wealth strategy. It's more akin to an income source. You need a compounding strategy running alongside speculation, something relatively predictable and structurally boring. People shy away from this because it seems on the surface that you can't get rich or leverage it, but without the parallel system, there's nowhere for winnings to go except right back into the same volatile arena that they came from. And without a home, your risk is just amplified to scale at another level. But without any newfound level of risk appreciation and with a belief that the idea will just keep on giving. The problem isn't risk itself, it's the absence of a place to crystallize the outcome. And therefore it often runs its full course. I think wealth is something that is not constantly a risk, something stable and dependable. Something that emerges at the point where volatility is converted into something that can quietly grow on its own, a mechanism that allows temporary wins to turn into a permanent foundation. Risk then becomes something that feeds the foundation versus something that is never quite yours. So there's two things that he's saying there. Just processing myself, just read it for the first time with you, didn't want to read it twice. So he's saying, one, get rich slowly and boring. That's how you keep it. And two, when you keep it, when you ascend to that next level, you got to stop and you've got to start again from that level, create a new base. Do not step backwards. I mean, I've done that way too many times. I get to the next level and then fucking drop back down to that next level because I'm, basically taking the same risks. You got to slow down the risks. You got to keep it small, keep it tight. Get to that next level. Hold the door. Hold the door. Every next step of wealth, and I'm even just talking when you've got 20 grand, when you've got 30 grand, when you've got 50 grand, when you've got 100 grand, fucking keep that, start building again, put that 100, split that 100 up, set it as a base, and then start building again. Increase the size of your trades, but, relatively proportionate, not the same sort of risk. Every time you take that next step, you need to bring the risk in. Because it's, what's the word? Not parallel. It's not coming to me, but it's, it's relative to your income. For example, you might make $2,000 a week. If you've only got $1,000 in your trading account, well, you could fill that back. You lose that. You could fill that back up on half a week. If you've got 100 grand, you're only making $2 grand a week. How long's that going to take to fill back up? Yeah, so it's fucking hard to save, man. Try saving 50 grand. It fucking takes a while if you've just got a normal job, I'm telling you. So, yeah, slow and boring wins a race, but in saying that, when you're starting off, you can definitely take more risk to sort of get a bit of momentum. Relative to your income. All right. See you tomorrow. Let's keep doing these. Fun.